Oh, the loot definitely is a lot better. Oh, I should have grabbed that one. I was looking off screen. Uh, the loot is definitely a lot better on Bedrock. Um, Microsoft Microsoft really forced Mojang to put all of their eggs in the Bedrock basket for the longest time. I mean, the reason you really didn't get any Minecraft updates between, I would say, 2014, so approximately 1.8. Hey, look at that. That'll be awesome for later. But so the reason you didn't get a ton of Minecraft updates for such a long time is that they were working on Bedrock and making Bedrock a cross-platform thing. Which, I mean, I made this argument earlier when talking about the Arkham games. Your primary audience is who you should first pay attention to, and they spent years ignoring the Java audience because Microsoft said, yeah, well, now that we own you, we want you to do this thing instead, which they can do because, you know, they're the parent company. Like, I get that. It's not that they did anything illegal, but they moved away from their primary audience for such a long time. I mean, the amount of time between updates was wild. You would get 9 months, a year and a half, 2 years at one point, and then finally we got the I'm forgetting the official name for it, but it was the Oceans update, and then less than a year later, I think, maybe it was a year later, but we got the Village and Pillage update, which was awesome, and those two things combined really did make Minecraft cross-compatible. Or they unified the two versions so that Bedrock and Java had the same sort of feature sets. But what you could have done instead is you could have had a second development team. I don't know, something like that. That would have probably been smart. You're owned by Microsoft now. There's no reason you couldn't have a second development team. But a lot of Java players, myself included, feel a little bit pushed aside because Bedrock is the cross-platform one, and Microsoft owns Mojang or Mojang or whatever. I don't care. I'm American. Mojang. And it's just, you know, it sucks. It's boring. Bedrock has a lot of features that I really like. I will go ahead and accept your request when the stream is finished. I'll go ahead and do that. I won't forget to do that because I always check my Twitter. I always check my Twitter after the stream. But yeah, Bedrock's got some solid features. It's certainly a more efficient game. Java is a code base that largely just focuses on your CPU, especially for the time that it was that the game was made. This game came out in 2009, folks. We've been here for 15 years. We've been here for 15 years. They've got some great updates in Bedrock for sure. Significantly more efficient. It implements your graphics card to a much greater degree. The awesome render distance that you have. All kinds of great stuff in there. They've got tons of great features. But you know, Redstone doesn't work the same. In fact, Redstone is worse in Bedrock. As well as of course, they just Minecraft is now at a place where they can't do certain things because they have to make Java and Bedrock the same. I don't know why that's the case. I don't see that as you know, I don't really like that. I think that, okay, they're two different audiences, largely two different audiences. The Bedrock audience is primarily a console-based audience because it's the version available on consoles. Okay, cool. Play to your console audience in that way. Like, they don't have the updated combat where you have to wait for the bar to refill. They have classic hack and slash combat. They have classic hack and slash combat, which is a feature that I always loved. Now, sure, it's something I could change on individual worlds if I wanted to, but I shouldn't need to. And I mean, to their detriment, and this is definitely a Microsoft inclusion, they have the in-game store, which I'm glad Java doesn't have, because we have a very thriving mod community, and basically everything that's on the in-game store is paid mods, which can be an interesting scenario. Hey, look at that. Oh, a Curse of Vanishing fishing rod. Well, that's dumb. It could be an interesting scenario to have professional modders who have made awesome mods go ahead and make paid stuff as well. I can totally see the appeal, but you now have an in-game store, and gamers in general are not the biggest fans of paid mods, let alone the fact that the greatest paid mods out there are just mid mods that you could get on Java. You know, the talent is still in Java. The talent is still on the Java side, because that's your core fan base. If you play to your core fan base, your game will continue to thrive. It just will. That's why that's why the modding community for Java has been as big as it is. That's why there was an entirely different there's an entirely different mod platform now. Remember when Forge was the only thing, was the go-to? Well, Paper is a thing now. I don't even use Paper. I don't even know how I would use it. I could very easily learn how to. I just don't, like, I've got no interest in doing so, because none of the things I do would require like a Paper version of it. But people have made entire mod platforms just for Java because of the amount of care and attention they put into the work that they do. This is the kind of thing that Microsoft really just doesn't hire for. They don't hire for this kind of talent. They hire for talent, for sure. You have to have talent to produce things for games in general. But they don't really hire to play to the core audience of Minecraft. They hire to play to the core audience of Xbox, which is, for better or worse, just never going to be the same thing. Well, no, of course, they're basic. You're right. The vast majority of them are basically just world downloads. And they're cool looking for sure. Absolutely. There's a really cool build team out there who's responsible for a great number of them. Who like with the modder argument, used to make maps for Java stuff, and then just went ahead and Microsoft was like, hey, we'll pay you to do this. This is cool. Well, Mojang, but Microsoft through Mojang were like, hey, we'll pay you to make this cool thing for us. Would you do it? So I totally understand the appeal, and it's not like it's the only thing that they do anyway. But you're right, most of their stuff is just world downloads. Because that's what... Oh, hey, hell yeah, name tag. That'll be awesome for later. Oh, that's a beautiful sunset. It's a beautiful sunset. I'd like to get a nice sunset screenshot. Can I? Can I maybe? Please? Please, sunset, don't go away yet. Don't go away yet, please. Oh, man. Okay, very similar to the one I got last time. But, you know, not bad. Not bad at all. Like I played through the Batman one because I'm building Gotham City. It looks great. It's just not at the scale that I'm working on. I've got a lot of stuff in it, lots of really cool stuff in it. It's just not to my... It's just not... It's clearly not made for a Java audience. It's not made for the majority of the Minecraft audience. It is made with console players in mind, and that's great. I totally get it. You want to take care of the audience you have, wherever that audience is from. But the audience for Minecraft is still primarily PC. That's just what it is. Minecraft became the best-selling game of all time because of the PC audience. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. So it's sad to see that they're not playing to their primary audience. Hell, any of the, you know, Minecraft sort of, ooh, hey, buddies, I'd prefer you didn't come over here. Any of the, you know, the sort of Minecraft live events that they do, any of the Minecraft live events that they do, whenever they do like, ooh, new mob vote or whatever, they don't really take into account, or maybe they just don't care. It's entirely possible that they just don't care, but I want to assume that they do care because they're actively involved in developing this game. None of the mobs that they really implement end up being anything of value at the end of the day, all right? And the mob vote is heavily skewed by the console audience. It just is, because these are the kinds of changes. Yeah, exactly. Because these are the kinds of changes that that a console audience is going to find more valuable. And you're right. They are extremely worried that their updates are not going to be optimized for phones and Switches. I don't remember if the Switch version is cross-compatible, just because it's Nintendo. And Nintendo's very specific with that kind of stuff. I don't remember if the Switch version is cross-compatible, or if it's just Bedrock minus the cross-compatibility aspect. But definitely for the phones. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There's a reason that RTX only works. Besides the graphics card stuff, there's a reason that RTX. Oh boy, there's a reason RTX is a PC platform concern at this point. Imagine trying to RTX on a phone. You kidding me? Ugh. They're not making substantial, meaningful changes to the game. They are all surface level changes. This is all window dressing. And I wish it wasn't, because we have gotten some really great updates, and it looks like we might be getting some other cool stuff here in the next update. For instance, the sort of dungeon challenge room stuff. Like, that looks cool. Okay, so Switch can. I remember there was a little bit of a concern because it's Nintendo, but that's cool that the Switch version is also cross-compatible. The sort of challenge room stuff, that looks really cool, and I like some of the blocks that they're adding for aesthetic purposes. In fact, you know, if this series is still going on at that time and I've made some progress on my castle, I'm definitely using some of those aesthetic blocks because they look really good. But that's like, how often... Let's see, what was the last meaningful change that was made to Minecraft besides the challenge room stuff? It's not very often that we get that, you know? It's not super often that we get these meaningful changes to the game. Most of the changes are window dressing, and I would say most of the changes to the new update, if we're talking about the challenge room stuff, okay, the mechanics of the challenge room basically just sounds like a mod. It sounds like one of the old Minecraft RP mods, where it was Minecraft RPG, not just RP. It sounds like one of the old Minecraft RPG mods where you would have what am I thinking of? It's the roguelike dungeons mod. That's the one. That's basically what it sounds like to me, except, you know, not modded and therefore a little bit more sterile. That's basically what it is, though. It's basically the roguelike dungeons mod. That's more or less what this new update is so far. I'm sure they'll add things here or there, but that's more or less what it is. How many of the changes in the game have been meaningful? Pandas, basically useless. They look cool, sure, and they add aesthetic purposes. Awesome. Camels, all right, very interesting. Very interesting. You can actually dash with a camel. That's pretty cool. Axolotls, all right, interesting little underwater companion thing. Are they sniffers or whatever the lava traveling thing is in the Nether, because I don't ever use them. Like, they're interesting. Some of the things that we've had are interesting changes. The Nether update was interesting. But in a meaningful capacity, the amount that it adds to Minecraft is largely negligible. which is really, really sad. It's really sad and really annoying to see. Striders, that's what it is. Sniffer is a different thing. Sniffer, the sniffers help with... what do the sniffers help with? Yes, that's right. That's right. You have to find them in the archaeology stuff. That's right. Oh, that's right. So they're basically useless. I completely forgot. They basically have no function. I completely forgot about that. The bees, which their honey is cool, but what I don't know if bees serve like a purpose when it comes to like farming things or anything like that, because like I don't use them. But at the end of the day, my game of Minecraft has not been meaningfully impacted by a significant number of these changes. And sure, that's an anecdote. Absolutely, that's an anecdote. I'm sure I'm doing some things significantly less efficiently than I could be. Absolutely. But if you're implementing these updates and promoting them as being these massive, meaningful changes, you would hope that they're meaningful to the vast majority of players. And basically all they are is window dressing, because that's what you can make for consoles. You can't always make massive changes to games for console players because, well, what if their hardware isn't good enough? What if their hardware isn't good enough? What if what if C++, which is the code Bedrock is coded in, what if C++ just isn't optimal for this sort of thing? Java may be archaic, but you can throw anything at it and it will take it, man. It will take it. It just really is super tough. It's really tough, and it sucks that this is the case, but it is. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. I mean, there's some other cool Minecraft clones out there, but they're not lining up to look like they're gonna take the place of Minecraft. They just aren't. Exactly. What if they have a cheap Walmart Android? Are they going to be able to run cool new Minecraft update? Exactly. Exactly. Microsoft is a company that used to be extremely innovative and cutting edge in the gaming industry. The Xbox man, the Xbox alone, the original one, the actual Xbox One, the first Xbox, that was one of the most cutting-edge things. An entire new programming language, DirectX, was created just for the Xbox, which is awesome. They used to be a company of innovation. Now they are a company of iteration, playing it as safe as possible. Let's do the same thing year after year after year, as simple and easy as possible, so that the audience we have doesn't think that we're doing anything crazy or new. Apple's in the same boat. You know, Apple's in the same boat. Innovation versus iteration. The iPhone is an innovation. The iPad, to a degree, I would say, is an innovation. The iPhone 15, that's just iteration. The meaningful changes between the first iPhone and the most recent iPhone are negligible. Better cameras, better speakers, higher res screens. Those aren't meaningful changes. Now, some of the security technology on those, some of the, stuff like for a long time, the thumbprint scanners or the facial recognition technology or anything of the sort, that is cutting edge. But how much of a difference is it making to the way you use your phone? For the vast majority of people, no difference whatsoever. For the vast majority of people, the functional difference between an iPhone with titanium on it and the iPhone SE2 is nothing. Functionally, there's almost no difference. Absolutely. No, you're totally right. The console version has a lot of these problems, but you're totally right. The biggest problem is the phone version. Which I don't know why game companies think mobile is I don't know why game companies are leaning towards mobile is the future for these things, because if that were the case, mobile games would probably be better than they are right now. I mean, what is the most innovative mobile game out there? It's a meme, but it's true. Raid Shadow Legends. That's the most innovative, that is the most innovative mobile game out there right now. And not for good reasons. Not really for good reasons. Their biggest selling point? Console-level graphics. So we're still stuck in this paradigm of, okay, consoles are sort of the go-to for gaming, which isn't even really true. The largest gaming audience out there that exists is PC gamers, has been since the 90s at this point. But the most popular gaming audience, sure, most popular gaming audience is console. But for raids, you'll hear it in every single one of the YouTuber promos you get. Hell, it would be so funny. It would be the biggest meme if I one day get a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship. You would hear me say it. It would be console level graphics for a phone game. That's the goal. The goal is just make console games but for the phone. Because microtransactions, because phone service, because all of the extra little bits, all the EULA stuff, all of it. That's the goal. That's the goal. The goal is to turn the phone into the everything device, which it more or less currently is, but that's not a good goal. That's not a great goal, you know? It really isn't. The goal for companies is to get us more hooked on the technology that we already have, mostly out of necessity. I don't think that anyone under the age of 14 needs to have a phone in 95% of cases. I don't, you know? I don't. I really don't. I was not given a phone until I was 13, and thank God for that. But the vast majority of... Sure, okay, yeah. Okay, that's fair, The other innovative game for its time, but how many people are talking about it now? The other innovative game on the phone for its time was absolutely Pokemon Go. AR was their biggest selling point. And you know what? That was a massive leap in AR technology. Absolutely, massive leap in AR technology. But where's that game now? Where is it now? Like, any big news surrounding it? Any world-shaking events surrounding it? Are we getting politicians out there still saying, how about they Pokemon Go to the polls? One of the reasons Hillary lost right there. Damn. Like, how many people are still talking about Pokemon Go outside of diehards for that game? There's not a whole lot of people still talking about it, right? Exactly. For the same reason that they want mobile games to be the standard is the reason Pokemon Go died. You're absolutely right. Microtransactions are the death of basically all kinds of mobile games, with the exception of Raid Shadow Legends, I guess. Or, I don't know, Candy Crush. Some crap like that. Remember when they tried to copyright the term saga? Remember when Candy Crush tried to copyright the term saga? Like, this is the stupid time we live in, boys. This is it. This is it. That's just companies doing company shit, but man, it's terrible. It's so bad. This is what they want. What they want for us is they want all of our games to be surrounded by microtransactions. And so they treat us like we want microtransactions. They treat us like lemmings. They treat us like, basically, they treat us like 3-year-old children, I mean, you know, it's hyperbole, sure, but they treat us like 3-year-old children, which is the majority demographic for mobile games. I get that that's not exactly the case, but they do. They treat us like children, and they genuinely act like flashing lights, big colors. That's all you need. That's all you need for a good game. I mean, some of the best mobile games out there during the golden age of mobile gaming, some of the best mobile games out there were made by actually extremely passionate people, you know? Sure, they were simple mechanics, but that comes with the medium. They were made by extremely passionate people. Jetpack Joyride, Oh man, was that one of the coolest games. Ah, that was so cool. And yeah, they had microtransactions, but it wasn't like, ooh, microtransaction to get rid of 30 days of ads. Microtransaction, so you get, some sort of pay-to-win nonsense. Sure, yeah, they had a couple microtransactions here or there, but nothing in comparison to what it's like now. Plants vs. Zombies, another great classic. Another great classic. Oh yeah, Vampire Survivors is pretty good. Absolutely. But again, as you said, yeah, started as a PC game. That's where the audience started. That's where your core audience really was. It moved to mobile, and they did a pretty solid move of it too. They didn't try, like you mentioned, they did not try to oversell the game. They did not try to make it more marketable than it was. It's the game that it is, and if you're interested in Vampire Survivor, you can also get it on phone. They did it perfectly. Absolutely. They did it super well. But yeah, man, golden age of mobile gaming was actually enjoyable, you know? The people making those games had passion, were almost exclusively small developers, and who genuinely were trying to do something new and cool because it was available to do, not because, oh, this is sort of a quick pathway to success, but it's like, you know what? I could probably grow an audience here, and I want to make something that fits the medium. I just want to do something cool. Angry Birds, Jetpack Joyride, Plants vs. Zombies. If you didn't play these games when you were in junior high, you basically didn't have a childhood, you know? You just didn't. Like they're an era defining. So those three games are basically definitive of an era of gaming as a whole, even though they were just mobile games. Yeah, the original. Oh man, I feel so bad for the creator of Flappy Bird. I feel terrible for that guy. Oh man, but yeah, absolutely. Original Flappy Bird is right there with them. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. And it sucks that that's the direction that gaming is heading, you know? It's either heading that way, or it's heading, let's use games to force people into political messages. I don't care if you agree with the political message a game states, but they're writing it as if their core audience wants real-life politics in their games. When one of the coolest things about games is that it is escapism. It's the ultimate form of storytelling because now you're in the story. So why would you make a game that's just real life? I mean, sure, there's an audience for that, but the largest audience you could possibly have is not going to be one it's just not an audience that's, you know what I want in my escapist fantasy? I want race politics. You know? Most people play games to get away from terrible things they see on news. They probably don't want the thing in the news to be their game. That's probably not what they want. That's probably not their goal. You know? It's probably not their goal. Like all this stuff about modders being banned from Nexus mods for making something that was like, maybe I'm speaking as the modder here. I personally don't really think I need to see all these different pride flags around New York City. It is New York City after all. Why don't we see more American flags? And for that mod to get banned for homophobia, I don't understand that argument. I don't get that, It's literally a mod. You don't have to play it. Why ban the person? That's just stupid. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. The proper usage of the term race refers to fantasy races. 100%. Absolutely. You're completely correct. You're completely correct. The only proper use of race in gaming. You're totally right. But that's how it should be, but it's not how it is. And that is by design. The people behind making games today are different than the people making games in 2015 and before. They just are. They get into gaming for political reasons. They get into making these things to make a point, to send a message, to get people on their side, rather than just making a good thing and letting the good thing be its own proof of product. You can make great games that happen to have political messages in them. But if you make a game, if you tell us a game is good because you surround it with a specific political message, you either A, are going to fail, or B, have to be really, really good at what you're doing. For instance, Fallout New Vegas. It absolutely has, it's got like 20 different political messages in it. But it is so good at being as authentic and taking the word of each of those political sides at face value as humanly possible that it genuinely does make a point. It genuinely makes a really good point about the post-apocalypse. But that's because the developers of the game did not want to be partisan with their politics. They didn't want their politics to be about current day. They wanted their politics to reflect the world that they were writing a story for, which is the best way to do it. It's the only good way to do it, really. It's the only good way to do it. Otherwise, audiences aren't stupid. Audiences are not stupid, all right? The majority audience for any piece of media is not stupid. It's why Marvel has been losing money for the past 5 years. It's why Disney is in free fall right now. It's why there's a massive stockholder war for Disney. Audiences are not stupid, you know? Audiences are significantly smarter than most people right now in storytelling positions give them credit for. And that is to the detriment of the storyteller. Because if people are just fed crap long enough, they're just not going to go back to the restaurant. They just won't. They just won't. And it sucks because the restaurant used to be good, you know? You used to be able to come in and get your favorite slice of... You get your favorite slice of I don't know, favorite slice of Meat Lover's Pizza or whatever, you know? But now the pizzeria has changed ownership, and the ingredients in the pizza are all different, and the quality of the ingredients is lower, and they're trying to tell you it's the same thing. They're trying to tell you it's just as good. You've been a loyal customer of this establishment for 20 years. Why aren't you coming by anymore? Your food's gotten worse. Sorry, bud. I'm not going to stick around. That's what happens. That's what happens to audiences. And if they don't recognize it, not the audience, if the people making the food for the allegory, if the people making the food, if the chefs and the restaurateurs don't recognize the mistake they're making and don't take into account, hey, look, our customers are saying this, maybe we want to change this thing, then they're just not going to be in business. They're just gonna stop being in business. It'll take a long time. I mean, the amount of time Disney's been in free fall, Lord, it's gonna take forever for Disney to like really crash. Like it just stop existing, like fizzle out, all that kind of stuff. It's gonna take a while for that to happen. But they're recognizing now the mistake that they made, you know? It's not even half of the people are really recognizing the mistake, but there's enough people recognizing it that there's a massive internal war regarding stock shareholder stuff, because shareholders are interested in making money, and if your product is not making money, why would the shareholder keep the same people in charge? You know, why would the shareholder keep the same people in charge? Shareholders, whether you think that money as a motive is a good thing or not, it's a motive, and it's the primary motive of the people financing these big companies. It's the primary motive for most of them. Sure, you get some companies out there who, they enjoy taking a more active role in shaping politics, to put it kindly. But the vast majority of shareholders in any of these big companies making these weird moves that just are completely incongruent with the stated goals of the company, those shareholders want to make money. You know, they pumped millions of dollars into this thing. They want to make their money. They want to make it in returns, and they're right to. They are correct to want to make it in return. You know, it's the parable of the talents, and talent in this sense means a share of money. A talent would be for the first century AD, a talent would be approximately 2 years worth of pay for the average individual. So it's the parable of the talents, you know? One person was given, one employee was given 1 talent, one employee was given 5 talents, and one employee was given 10 talents. And then and then their boss goes away for a year, comes back, says, okay, what have you done for me? What have you done for me? I invested in you. What have you done with my investment? Well, the person with the 10 talents came back and said, look at how I've grown your initial investment. You gave me 10 and I increased it tenfold. I have produced 100 talents out of these 10 talents, which is 200 years worth of wages. I have produced all of this for you. And the employer said, wonderful. I bless you with all that you have made for me. Same with the 5 talents. You gave me 5 and I increased it 5-fold, which is 25 talents, 50 years of wages. Wonderful. I grant you all that you've given me back because you've been good stewards of what I've given you. And then he gets to the man for whom he entrusted only 1 talent. And he asks, okay, what have you done for me? And he said, well, sir, or I guess master would have been the term at the time, because employees would do that. They would call their employers masters. That's neither here nor there. Well, master, you gave me 1 talent, and in order to ensure that the talent stayed safe, what I did is I buried it and didn't actually do anything with it. I didn't try to utilize. He didn't try to utilize any of the resources. He just held on to it. Didn't let anything happen to it. Didn't touch it. Didn't do anything with it, which is not what was requested of him. What was requested of him was to be a good steward of what he had been given, not to just hide it, not to just leave it behind or forget about it for a year so that it stayed safe and it wasn't touched. And so it was taken from him. He was punished. It was taken from him because, well, you did not do what I asked. That is basically how shareholders act. That's more or less that's more or less exactly how shareholders work. Now, with significantly less religious language surrounding it. Yes, I was using a parable, but that's more or less shareholders, you know? I gave you this money. This is what I asked you to do. How well did you do that thing? If you did well, we will continue to give you money. If you did not do well, we're pulling out our funding. You have to give us back the money that we put in because you didn't do what we asked you to. And if they can't give back the money, well, now you have court proceedings. Now you've got legal cases. You've got a whole bunch of stuff. And they're finally realizing, oh no, we messed up. But I'm worried it's too late. I'm worried it's too late for every single one of these big companies doing all this crap because they focused so hard on trying to make a statement instead of trying to make a good thing that almost anybody could enjoy. This is across all forms of entertainment, pretty much all across the markets as a whole, you know? But certainly in entertainment, it's, I would say, the most palpable. 2015 and before, you would get all kinds of different stories, you'd get all kinds of different entertainment. They were trying to say something interesting, something unique. They were trying to say something, actually innovative and different. 2015 rolls around. A few things happened in the world in 2015. Certain political actions happened in 2015 and after. And then everyone decided, we're latching on to this idea. Not out of any particularly great reason, but they all sort of decided, you know what we're doing? 2015, that's the year we're making it. We're totally switching gears, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be no problem because clearly the majority of our audience definitely agrees. And then they decided alienating half of their potential audience was a good thing. I don't really care what your political ideology is. That's a stupid business move. That is the worst move you could make as a business. The worst move you could possibly make is say, you know what? All these people who have been loyal customers for decades, who happen to not who happen to not like the same person I do, who's in charge of a country for 4 years at a time. Yeah, well, they're evil now, so I'm just gonna make things that say that they're evil. Customers don't like to be called evil. If you couldn't tell, customers are not big fans of people telling them that they're wrong. And, well, you know, they're kind of reaping their own reward at this point. They're just reaping their own rewards. This is what they get. Yeah, this is just how it is. Just how it is. There's a good line I could pull from the Joker movie, but I don't want to swear, you know? It's how it is, and it sucks because things used to be awesome. Are you kidding me? The first 3 Halo games were the best. Microsoft used to make some of the coolest content out there. But now they're just noise in the background. That's all they are. They're just a corporate entity who owns Xbox. And they used to make cool stuff. And it sucks that there's an entire extra generation of kids now who either won't have any attachment to the good stuff, or simply won't care. Like, they won't care or they won't know. And that's just sad, man. That's just really sad. They won't care or they won't know. They won't care because, you know, the graphics are X, Y, or Z, or, oh, this game was made this year, that seems like it must be bad. All this, like, no, it clearly isn't. The first 3 Halo games, as well as Reach, are some of the coolest games out there. Some of the best storytelling in gaming was done in the first 4 Halo games, which is 1, 2, and 3 in Reach. Just for the sake of simplicity, I'm calling them the first 4 Halo games now. Some of the best storytelling was done in the first 4 Halo games. But now they're brought up as a way of memeing on them, like, man, look at how much they messed up this time. Look at how bad they did on this thing. Man, look at how terrible they ruined this thing that everybody loved. Wow, wasn't that a terrible use of Master Chief in this scenario or whatever? Like, that sucks. That sucks, man. One of the coolest characters in gaming, and what they decide to do with him is they just say, he's okay. We'll make a crappy TV show about him and just ruin everything that you like about Master Chief. You know about the whole thing, how we never see his face, how he never takes the helmet off, that we can see it, and the one time that you do that we get to see his face after finishing the most difficult version of the game possible, it's just the eyes, so there's still a big mystery. We're gonna take his helmet off in the first episode. And then give him a nude scene in episode 3. Of course, creating the great title Master Cheeks. It's just, man, the people making, like, it's just more to the point. The people making this stuff don't care. They haven't cared for a while, or hell, these individuals never really cared, and the people who do just aren't attached to them anymore. Like the creator of the Halo theme, whose name I sadly forget at the moment. The creator of the Halo theme is not attached to the Halo games anymore. He's not. One of, if not perhaps the most recognizable theme in all of gaming. And he's just not attached to the Halo games anymore. And he's just the composer. Imagine the writers, the writers, the devs, the character artists, everything. I mean, it's changed studios so many times, like the Modern Warfare games. It's changed studios so many times. Who even knows who's developing something? Who's on the dev team anymore? Sure, it might be of a certain company, but does that mean the same people are making it? No, it doesn't. There are 3 separate studios that produce Assassin's Creed games. There are 3 separate studios that are producing Assassin's Creed games, all of them with different writing staffs. Well, all of them with a different writing staff, and all of them with a different programming team. And you would assume, there was a time where you could assume that just means, oh, that's awesome, we're getting more great games from this awesome group. No. That's just not the case. We're just getting the same. We're just getting the same kind of game. We're just getting the same format or the same mechanics of the game from 3 different studios. The difference really does come down to the writing team. The writing team for Origins is a different writing team than the one for Odyssey and Valhalla, which is a different writing team than the one for Mirage, which was done at the same, which I believe was made at the same studio as Origins, but it's still a different writing staff. And so we can't actually know the quality of their work until we see it. Well, okay, we can't be certain of the quality of the work until we see it. But then we see it and it turns out to just be slop. Just slop. Just absolute garbage. And that's infuriating because Assassin's Creed was one of the best game series in the world. You know? Remember when there was a time when people would speculate, oh, what's the cool new setting they're gonna tell these awesome stories in? Are we getting the American Revolution? Are we getting pirates? Are we maybe getting Vikings? Well, sadly. Sadly, yes. Are we maybe getting the Wild West? Could we maybe get like a Civil War game? Stuff like... And then what did we get? Where are we now? Ooh. And it's really depressing. But they are way too focused on, well, let's make sure it fits all of these specific social markers, and let's make sure that the story is as blatant and sterile and simple as possible, so that it's accessible to the largest number of people. The people you're playing to for an established game franchise better be the people who already love the games. The God of War team figured out how to do it. They figured out how to do it. They came back a decade later and made 2 amazing sequels to an already beloved series. They figured out how to do it. Like, how difficult does this have to be? How difficult is this? This doesn't, like, I don't see the problem. I don't see why it's so difficult to tell a good story. But for some reason it is. And I've been yapping for like 20 minutes. I've been yapping. Oh boy, I have really been yapping. That's a good highlight clip. Ugh. Just cut that down into a single highlight. Oh man. This was supposed to be chill Minecraft and I just started yapping for 20 minutes. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, everybody.